This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations. The in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave, here's Jason Walker.
Oh, and we welcome you. Happy Wednesday. It is the Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, if you are looking to buy a home, there is one place you need to get a hold of, and that is J.R. McFadden at Major Mortgage Man Cave. Big show coming up today. We are going to chat with Will Rasmussen, get his thoughts on what happened at the National Finals Rodeo. Also preview this weekend's Chase Hawks. Bethany Cordell, the Associate Athletic Director of Marketing at Montana State University, will join us and talk about all the excitement at Bozeman right now. And on this day in history is coming up. We have That's What She Said and a whole lot more still to come. But this is a big show because we're going to start today with the man who knows the FCS better than really anybody, and his name is Sam Herder from Hero Sports FCS. Sam, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back on the show.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you because it's always about FCS football. And what's your takeaway from the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the name of the game so far has been defense. I mean, you look at the last week in the quarterfinals. I mean, all 8 teams that played in the quarterfinals really had, pretty good defensive performances overall. I mean, it ranged from, pretty good defensive performances from Austin Peay. They weren't dominant by any means, and they, had, quote, the worst defensive performance out of the 8, but I still thought Austin Peay, had a pretty good showing defensively. And then you go to other teams like, Montana obviously lost to Weber State, but they still played pretty well defensively. You look at other losing teams like Northern Iowa or Illinois State, their defenses played amazing and gave their team, a shot to win in the games. And, then you go to all the winners, North Dakota State and James Madison absolutely dominated on defense. Weber State picks off Dalton Sneed 5 times a week after. Sneed threw for 1,000,000 yards against Southeastern Louisiana. And then Montana State, I thought, just physically handled Austin Peay and didn't allow their explosive offense to get anything done. So I think it kind of goes to show that if you play great defense at the FCS, you can win some games in December.
Sam Herder joining us here on the Jason Walker Show, covers the FCS for Hero Sports. Sam, was there a disappointment for you from the quarterfinals?
I guess the easy one there would probably be Montana. For me, that's the one game I did pick wrong in the quarterfinals. My partner in crime, Brian McLaughlin, got all 4 of his predictions right in the quarterfinals. The one I got wrong was I felt overall pretty confident that Montana would get a close win over Weber State. It obviously didn't shock me that Weber State got that win, but just how it happened, Sneed, Dalton Sneed had such a fantastic couple of years for Montana, and for him to go out that way was certainly disappointing for him especially. So that was probably one of the bigger surprises is just how Montana lost that game. I didn't see that coming, and just kind of makes it even more painful for that team, the fact that they had all those turnovers and yet still only lost 17-10. So they still have their chances to get a win there.
Hero Sports FCS massive writer. I mean, he's so good. I don't know what else to call you, but his name is Sam Herder. He's joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, let's break down these semifinals, and let's start with James Madison and Weber. I know people are thinking, are you going to start with NDSU and Montana State? It's the biggest game, but I think the one that intrigues me the most is James Madison and Weber, because Weber hasn't been great offensively this year, and James Madison is just James Madison.
Yeah, I mean, the Dukes are just on a different level defensively this year, and I think that's saying something when, the opposing defense, Weber State, they're not too shabby themselves, but, I mean, JMU allowed 0 yards rushing to Northern Iowa, and I think Northern Iowa had 17 to 20 attempts or something like that, didn't get 1 yard, and JMU has just been so dominant in their run defense. Their passing defense is just fine as well. My big question in this game is just how is Weber State going to score enough points to get a win here? And especially with Josh Davis, he has that leg or hip injury, whatever it is. I don't know if he'll play. I'm sure he'll probably try to give it a go, but I mean, you saw last week he returned from that injury and was pretty gimpy. Still ended up scoring a pretty big touchdown, which goes to show just how talented and how tough of a guy Josh Davis is, but I mean, he's their main playmaker. Rashid Shaheed has been missing some games. He's their other big-time playmaker. I'm just not sure how the Wildcats are going to, score a whole lot of points in this game, especially with how JMU is just playing like a suffocating defense right now.
Well, and speaking of defense, and all 4 teams that are left in the semifinals, and the old cliche is defense wins championships, but all 4 playing great defense. How does Weber's defense slow down the Dukes?
Well, and that's why I think this is going to be a pretty close game for the most part. James Madison's offense didn't look the best at times last week. Now, a big part of that is because of how Northern Iowa played on defense, but there's also some weather factors. There's also the fact that James Madison got a little conservative last week just because they knew, once they had a 10-point lead on Northern Iowa, that the Panthers just weren't going to score 10 points. So I think JMU got a little conservative, but I do think Weber State matches up pretty well defensively with James Madison, just because the Dukes they're a pretty well balanced offense, but they do want to establish the run game first. They want to get their pretty diverse group of running backs going that they can hand the ball off to a number of different guys. They have a pretty big offensive line, and obviously I think Weber State. They just have an awesome defensive line that can, kind of wreak havoc in the backfield. So I do think Weber State does have the ability to slow down this James Madison offensive attack. The storyline with the Dukes all year has kind of been their defense, but their offense is right up there. I know last week they were ranked number 1 in the FCS in points per game. I don't know if they still are number 1 just because they only scored 17 last week, but the Dukes are pretty good offensively as well.
Speaking of defenses, we've talked about all 4 being good. The other common factor is all 4 very good at the run game as well. Who has the edge with JMU and Weber in that one?
I think I do have to lean James Madison there just because the backfield of Weber State is pretty banged up. They have multiple guys that are either hurt or are injured. So I think I do have to give the edge to James Madison there because they have – for the most part, JMU is looking pretty healthy offensively, and I think Weber State is limping into this game, probably literally limping into this game.
Sam Herder from Hero Sports FCS joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, let's flip over to the other one. Number 1, North Dakota State. They've won 35 straight games, which is a record that they set their own, of beating their own record of 33. They don't lose at home. They haven't lost since, 2017? I mean, this is a very good Bison team, and last year they throttled Montana State 52-10. Now, Montana State seeded 5th. This is a different ball club than it was a year ago, but does the edge still favor North Dakota State for you?
I think slightly, yeah. I do think this is going to be a good game, and, I'm not just saying that to try to generate even more excitement for the matchup. I do feel we're going to see a pretty tight battle here, but you have to lean North Dakota State a little bit. It's just interesting that, Montana State, like you said, obviously is not the team that came into the Fargo Dome last year. They're much, much better. They're much, much better than the team that we saw lose to North Dakota just, a month and a half ago or however long it was. I mean, where this team is at now compared to where they were at the end of October is just night and day. And with North Dakota State, I do think the Bison are a different team now than they were last year. I mean, obviously they still are an incredible team, a top team in the FCS, but there were points throughout the regular season, early on where, but going back to the preseason, a lot of people thought, all right, the Bison they're going to take a step back. It might not be a big one, but they might take a small step back considering, all the new faces on the coaching staff and in the starting lineup. But NDSU was so hot in September and October where it was kind of the conversation was going, is this team just as good as last year's team? I mean, that was a legit conversation going on because the Bison were so dominant in September and October. Now, these last 3 games, the Bison offensively, just haven't really gotten going, and they've kind of seemed like their offense has peaked in September and October, and have since, maybe taken a step back. Some of that might have to do with the defenses they face, but overall, NDSU just isn't executing like they were at the start of the season. They're not as explosive as they were at the start of the season. So I do think you're seeing a team that, is trending down a little bit. Now, when NDSU is trending down, that means they still are pretty good. They're obviously not a bad team by any means, but they're going up against a Montana State team that's trending upwards in a big way. And, I think that's going to, level the playing field a little bit. But, yeah, I think you still have to favor the Bison in this one by a small margin.
They didn't score a touchdown last week at home for the first time since 2002. Montana State's first-string defense gave up a passing touchdown for the first time in 7 games. So there's a lot of great, storylines involved. Well, when it comes down to is those trenches and offensive and defensive lines, both are so good. Who has the advantage there?
Yeah, I think it is pretty tight. In this one, it's kind of hard to say who has the advantage. I mean, obviously we will find out on Saturday, but I mean, NDSU has done so well in the trenches, and this year in Montana State, I think that's kind of the big difference in their team this year is they've taken that next step in the trenches. I mean, Montana State's offensive line was already good. I think they've raised their game even more than offensive line. I think it has been really important that not only have they stepped up their game, but they've added some depth on their defensive line, and that's so important. Especially when you're playing this late in the season to be able to rotate guys. So. I'm not sure who has the edge there. I do think that is one of the bigger differences in the game. If Montana State can stick with NDSU in the trenches and knock heads, for all 4 quarters, that gives them a good chance. Just the thing with NDSU is, I see it in person time and time again when I go cover playoff games, is the team is looking good and they're sticking with the Bison for 3 quarters and they're kind of holding their own. They're holding their own in the trenches, and all of a sudden the 4th quarter comes rolling around and the Bison rush for 100 yards in the final quarter and put on 10 more points and get a decisive win. So that is the key for me, is to see just how well the Bobcats do stack up with one of the best offensive lines in the FCS.
You do have 2 teams that don't turn the ball over very much. I don't think Trey Lance has even thrown an interception this year, the freshman quarterback for the Bison. And the Cats, they've had a couple of fumbles here in the playoffs, but other than that, this is 2 teams, like I said, that just don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, exactly. And both teams are just so well coached. They're fundamentally sound. You don't see a lot of mistakes on offense. You don't see missed assignments or guys out of position on defense. Just 2 really well coached teams. And I mentioned that the trenches are a big factor in this game. I think Tucker Rovig is also a pretty big factor, the Montana State quarterback, because I mean, obviously the Bobcats would love to face a whole lot of 3rd and short situations, but there will be times when it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, and for the most part a pretty obvious passing situation. And the Fargo Dome crowd will be a sellout. Tucker Rovig has played his best football these last handful of games. I'm just interested to see how he handles that, because I think if he's shaky, obviously Montana State can still do a lot of damage in their run game. It's just very hard to defeat NDSU when you're one-dimensional. And, when your quarterback is shaky, that kind of can rub off a little bit on the rest of the offense in the huddle. So I think Rovig has to have a strong game, obviously, and he has to have pretty good composure, when the heat is coming on him.
Sam Herder from Hero Sports FCS joining us here, Jason Walker Show. A couple final questions for you. So when it's all said and done on Saturday at about 7 or 8 o'clock Mountain Time, who's playing in January in Frisco, Texas?
Yeah, it's funny. I do about a week after the national championship games wrap up, I do a top 10 way too early favorites to win next year's national championship. And, This last January I had James Madison number 1 and North Dakota State number 2, and I've kind of felt that all year long. If these two teams are on a collision course for Frisco, Texas, I've kind of flip-flopped NDSU and James Madison 1 and 2 throughout the season. But I do feel pretty strongly that we'll see two pretty good battles. But you have to side with the home teams in this one, and both of these teams, NDSU and James Madison, I feel are so talented. I felt that they're on a collision course for Frisco for a handful of months now. I still do think that's going to happen.
So not a Big Sky championship for the first time ever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be interesting. It would be very interesting if we saw two Big Sky teams in Frisco. And even for a little bit, there was kind of that talk of, Montana State, they're on opposite sides of the bracket. They're both hot. What would that matchup be like? And who knows? Both of those programs are trending upwards. Maybe we'll see that matchup in Frisco one day, and I can't wait for that one day, because that would be a pretty wild weekend.
Sam Herder, our guest. All right, final question for you. You spent Cat Grizz in Bozeman. What was that experience like for you? I've read all your stuff, but I mean, it's a different animal when you get to Cat Grizz.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. It lived up to the hype. It's one of those things where people sometimes exaggerate a little bit online, saying this is the best rivalry ever, or this is the best atmosphere in the FCS or whatever, and you kind of go, okay, yeah, can't really tell if you're being serious or if you're being, or if you're exaggerating a little bit. But to see it in person, it certainly lived up to the hype. Great fans. It was intense, even for a blowout game. It was intense from the start to the finish. The town is great. Bozeman is beautiful. The people were great. The Montana State Athletic Administration was great to me as far as letting me see the stadium and talk to the head coach, talk to the AD and all that. So it was a great experience. I'm glad I was able to make it out to see the campus and to talk about the Montana State football team a little bit, and then obviously to experience exactly what the Brawl of the Wild is all about.
Well, Sam, we appreciate it. You can follow him and his buddy on the Twitter, Brian McLaughlin, but at Sam Herder FCS. Great stuff. Looking forward to reading your update and recap this week when Montana State and Weber both win. And enjoy the cold weather. I know you're going to the Dome.
Yeah, I am. Yep, I live in Minneapolis right now, but it's only about a 3.5-hour drive to Fargo, so I'll be there on Saturday to take in that game.
I think it's 20 below outside in Fargo, but it'll be warm in the Dome.
That's right. It's that time of year again. I know you guys are obviously dealing with cold as well, but North Dakota hits a little bit different.
It definitely does. It's a little Montana-ish as well. But hey, Sam, we appreciate it, and enjoy the games this week, and maybe we'll talk next week for you.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Sam Herder joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. Appreciate his time. He is a great guy. If you get a chance to listen to him, read his stuff. He has a podcast as well, but at Sam Herder FCS, and appreciate him joining us to break down those FCS semifinals. Don't forget the Jason Walker Show is presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. You can always watch Facebook.com/The Jason Walker Show. You can tweet us anytime at JWalkerSports, also at Jason Walker Show. YouTube videos up on there as well. Search the Jason Walker Show. And to listen anytime as well, TreasureStateRadio.com. Download it if you don't have it on the Google Play or at the App Store. And you can email me anytime, JasonWalkerSports@gmail.com. You heard Sam talk about the MSU administration. Well, we're going to talk to one of those administrators next, the Associate Athletic Director of Marketing. Bethany Cordell will join us to talk about the excitement surrounding Bobcat athletics. That's all coming up right here on the Jason Walker Show. We're coming right back. Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Oh, Jason Walker Show back inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. And as always, presented by Helena Accommodations. The in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Got some great viewers following us on the Facebook Live stream. You can watch anytime. Facebook Live, Facebook.com/The Jason Walker Show. You can also watch the recap anytime you want as well, as soon as the show is over. And more great things are coming when it comes to the Jason Walker Show. Big show coming up tomorrow. We will have Kurt Sinnis back in studio. He'll be talking about Helena area, capital city area, national finals world champions in the rodeo world. Before Ty Erickson. We know Ty won this year, but we'll check in with Kurt Sinnis. He'll be back tomorrow. He is, don't forget, signing tonight at Buzz Boutique, 5 to 7, signing calendars if you go on down and purchase one. And Kurt will definitely take care of you. And looking forward to having him back tomorrow. He's always a great dude and full of stories, full of energy, and just love talking with him. We do have one new thing, and I don't know if you saw it during the first segment, but we have a new camera in studio. I think I can get to it. There it is. Is it the, I think it's this one. So it's kind of a close-up camera. I got my Sasha Cohen autographed framed poster there, pictures there, the board that we use and some speakers. This will be the camera that also that rotates. We'll see the guests close up and personal when they're in studio. Coming up here on the Jason Walker Show as we move through what promises to be a very exciting winter sports season. I did want to bring this up, and that's kind of a weird look, so I'll switch it back because I'm not used to that. But it's a little different having the close up. My wife said I needed to shave, so hold on, let me go back to it. Here, the wife said I need to shave. Do I need to? I don't know. She says it's looking scruffy. She didn't like my mustache that I had all throughout October. I was getting ready for Halloween because we did, the daughter and I did not Nationwide, one of the Liberty Mutual Insurance. We were Limu, Emu, and Doug, but we were Limu, Winnie, or Winnie, Emu, and Dad. So we did if you've seen the commercials, you know what it is, and we did it. It was really cute. Maybe I'll share a picture sometime, maybe next year for Halloween. Anyway, still to come, Bethany Cordell, the Associate Athletic Director of Marketing at Montana State. She is currently on a conference call talking playoff stuff, so we'll check in with her coming up. Also, Will Rasmussen is still to come. Will spent the weekend, or a couple of weeks down in Las Vegas getting ready for the National Finals Rodeo, watching the National Finals Rodeo, and also talking about the National Finals Rodeo. So he's going to recap that. Plus, look ahead to this week. And Saturday night down in Billings, it is the Chase Hawks Memorial 25th annual Roughstock Rodeo. And if you don't know about Chase Hawks, a 6-year-old that was tragically killed. And they started this foundation and this rodeo in honor of little Chase. And it's been successful. You get the top 20 broncs, you get the top 20 saddle broncs, you get the top 20 bareback horses, and the top 20 bulls, plus all the riders. And it's a lot of these riders that you just saw at National Finals Rodeo are going to be competing this weekend in Billings. It's kind of the last hurrah before the holidays, and then everybody comes to Billings and then heads out. But anyway, we'll talk to Will and get his thoughts about that coming up. Oh my goodness, we have my wife watching for the first time ever Kind of interested in that. So let's go back to that question, because now the wife is watching. So she says I need to shave, and I don't think I do. So what do you think? I know she's going to respond with a yes, but anyway, I don't think I need to. I think it looks pretty good, but that's just me. So anyway, well, we'll talk to Will. We do have On This Day in History coming up as well, and when Bethany does join us, it'll be that'll be our That's What She Said for the day, presented by Dinner's Done Right, because Bethany is such a great ambassador for sports and for women in sports, and she's done a lot of great things for women in sports, and we're going to talk to her about all the excitement coming up, like I said, surrounding Bobcat athletics, with football in the semifinals for the first time since '84. You have the basketball teams. The women are out in Puerto Rico right now. The men under Danny Sprinkle getting better and better as well. So we'll talk to her a little bit. Speaking of basketball, the Carroll men yesterday went 2-1, wrapped up the Cactus Classic with a big win over number 21 Arizona Christian. The women playing right now down in Arizona. And so we'll try to get a score. There was some great basketball on the men's side in the Frontier and on the women's side now in this tournament. New top 25 poll came out for the women, and it has 5 Frontier Conference teams ranked in the top 25, and the other 2 receiving votes. So leading the way is Campbellsville, Kentucky on the women's side. Oklahoma City's 2, the Masters 3, and Westmont 4, Vanguard 5. So you got 3 Californian teams, Kentucky, Campbellsville, and then Oklahoma City. The top Frontier team is MSU Northern. They're 9-0. They haven't really played anybody. They're ranked 11th. LC State is ranked 13th. And then you go down to Rocky, moving up 5 to number 20. They're 6-2, but they really haven't played anybody. Then you have Western at number 24, the defending champs, who started the year not even ranked. And that just blows my mind that the defending national champions were not even ranked in the top 25 to start the year. And then the Carroll women dropping 2 to number 25. They're 7-4 in the year. And then you got Tech and Providence, each receiving votes, 6 apiece. So that is the top 25 women's poll, and the Carroll women, like I said, on the road down in Arizona for today, tomorrow, and on Friday as well, as they're playing some games. But looking forward to watching some basketball once it really gets going, and go from there. But let's switch gears while we wait for Bethany to get off of her conference call. Hopefully it's very soon. And Bethany Cordell down at Montana State will join us coming up a little bit. And also Will Rasmussen here in the Major Mortgage Man Cave. It was National Early Signing Day today. And you know how I feel about this. If you watched the show last year, or listened to the show last year, rather, but got a couple of comments on the shaving. The wife says that my daughter says to shave too. She can't talk. So you're saying that for her. Anyway, and Nicole says the cameras aren't high enough resolution to notice if you're scruffy or not. No need to shave until you get the nose hair cameras. We're not going to go that much there, Nicole. That we don't have to worry about that. Anyway, so Bethany's just about set. We're going to give her a call here in a little bit, but where was it? Oh, National Early Signing Day. And you know where I stand on this, on not just the National Early Signing Day, which is fine. That's okay. But it is it's all the kids tweeting out, blessed to receive this offer. I got this offer. Humbled to get this offer. Nobody cares about your offers. They really don't. But early signing days, the Grizzlies signed 17 today, and I think 7 were from Montana, and some pretty good ones from Montana. Yeah, 7 from Montana. You got Asher Croy from Bozeman from the state champs. Drew Deck, Glacier, very good. Let's see, Journey Grimsrud out of Huntley. Jackson Lee from Sentinel High, transferred from Drummond Phillipsburg last year. Guido Ocello from Butte Central, and Carson Rostad from Hamilton. So the Grizz signed 17 in the early signing period today, and the regular signing period will start on February the 5th of 2020. The Cats signed 23 players, 10 of which come from Montana, including Brody Grebe. And Brody Grebe from Melstone, who went out to Choate Prep School out in Connecticut, is going to enroll in January at Montana State. He played football out there. He was on the basketball team as well. They gave him a year full ride scholarship. He's only going to stay for half the year because he's getting enrolled at Montana State as soon as possible, which would be in January. But he came from Choate Rosemary Hall, which is a prep school out in Connecticut. We're going to talk to Brody tomorrow, I believe, here on the Jason Walker Show. He was such a stud. Roundup football, Melstone Roundup basketball. I mean, you talk about an all-around athlete. Brody Grebe did it all. And we'll talk to him hopefully tomorrow here on the Jason Walker Show. For Montana State, they signed 10 Montanans, and that included, like we said, Brody, also Shaden King from Big Timber, and then you go up the list a little bit, Jake DiAgostino from Bozeman, from the state champs, Tommy Malott from Butte, man, he's so good, McCade O'Reilly from Bozeman, his brother's already there. You have Connor Rader from Billings, Skyview High, Aaron Richards from Butte Central, and Connor Ryan from Billings West, and along with Trey Yates from Colstrip. His brother, Tucker, played for Montana State as well. So the Cats with 10 in-state, the Grizz with 7. I know that's a big deal for everybody following on there. But, all right, let's give her a call. Let's see if she answers. And we're going to try to get Bethany Cordell here on the Jason Walker Show. Oh, it's ringing. We like that.
Hi, you've reached Bethany Cordell with Bobcat Athletics.
And
sorry, I can't come to the
she's
phone
not
right
going
now.
to answer the phone. That is awesome. I love live radio. Bethany, we just tried calling you, and you didn't answer. So it went straight to voicemail. And so you should try calling me back. But anyway, live radio at its best, right? And all right, she says try again. Let's try this again. All right, because we want to talk about this, the excitement surrounding Montana State.
Hello?
Hey, there you go. Bethany Cordell, you're live on the Jason Walker Show. How are you, my friend?
Guys. Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. I can't believe you don't have my phone number saved after all these years.
No, I did. It literally came off the Jason Walker, so I did have
okay.
it saved. I
All
just
right.
accidentally hung up because I was on another call. So forgive me.
You're a little busy. Bethany Cordell.
Just a little bit.
Let me give you the official introduction, the Associate Athletic Director of Marketing at Montana State University, and she joins us here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, I got to ask, how much sleep have you had since the week before Cat Grizz?
Oh my gosh, not much. I really haven't. Like, at least we're not hosting another home game this weekend. That does help with the sleep a little bit, but not much.
I was talking to some people last week after the semifinal win, and they were like, man, I really want Illinois State to win, but I really don't know if I want to do another home game. So if NDSU wins, it's okay. What was your thoughts?
Honestly, I felt crazy for it, but I wanted to host another home game. I mean, I live for game days, and to give our fans the opportunity to, pack Bobcat Stadium again and give our guys the opportunity to play at home. I knew I was going to be hosting, but in my heart, I definitely wanted to host again. So a little bummed, but, now we have the awesome, exciting challenge of beating NDSU.
Bethany Cordell joining us here, Jason Walker Show, and it is Dinner's Done Right bringing us That's What She Said, and it's a woman's take on sports, and there's nobody better because Bethany is one of the best. I've worked with her since she was an intern at Montana State, and she has grown up all the way to a grown-up adult who likes to work hard, and you have a very good crew underneath of you.
I sure do. I mean, it's crazy. Like you said, you worked with me forever to be going from an intern here at Montana State to have the opportunity to return home a couple of years ago and really get to take more of a lead on a lot of our projects has just been so fantastic. I can't even describe it.
You're an East Helena girl, but a Bozeman girl as well. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of excitement, like we said, around Bobcat Athletics, and it's not just the football team, but I want to stick with football for a second because this is they're in rarefied era, as Coach Choate said in his postgame the other night. 35 years since Montana State was in the semifinals.
I mean, it's absurd. It's like, I think one of my favorite parts about last weekend's win was my dad was standing right next to me, and he was a freshman at Montana State the last time we had made it to the semifinals, and to see just literally him tearing up and just being able to share that moment with him when my little sister is also a freshman at Montana State. which is really, really cool. There's that saying of, Bobcat family and rolling this together. And I think at some schools, those are just words, and here they aren't. It means more. Everybody's in it together. We want to win for each other, and we want to all share in these victories together.
I got a chance to come down to the last 2 games, and I got to tell you, I announced there for a long time. You were up in the booth with me. You were down on the field for a long time under the various people that we worked with. But the atmosphere, and I haven't come to a regular season game since you took over, but the atmosphere for the playoff games is top notch. I don't think anybody in the country does it better than you do.
Well, thank you. That means the world to me. It really does. I mean, playoffs are a different beast, like you said. We aren't able to do any of our normal activations, any of our recognitions on the field, any of our corporate sponsorships. And, I think a lot of those things that we do make us really special, but there's also something so just really great and organic about getting back to the core of the fan experience, which we get to do at playoff games. And so really being able to sit down and focus on knowing, I think one of my favorite things about game day is I know exactly how our crowd is going to react to a certain song. Mm-hmm. Whether that be, the famed Money Money, whether that be any other songs I know will get everybody on their feet. Or anything of that variety. And so I think that's a really cool piece. So like I said, with the playoff games, you're able to really get back to the core of the true fan experience, and that you're just there to watch the game and you're there to have a great time. And I think there's something pretty cool about that too.
You have built something quite special. The run out is fantastic. I'm going to try to show it here on the Facebook page, but it is absolutely amazing. Getting the cowboys and cowgirls from the Montana State Rodeo team. I mean, nobody in the country does that and brings 7 awesome horses and riders out on the field.
Well, I mean, that is truly one of my favorite things to do, because like you said, nobody else does it. Everybody's got fireworks, which are definitely still a piece I love too, but being able to focus on what makes us unique at Montana State, and that really starts from the top down. President Cruzado loves her some rodeo horses. I mean, I think every time I see her running the football season, she's like, okay, Bethany, we have the horses this weekend, right? And so, it starts at the absolute top. That's her favorite thing. I mean, our rodeo team is fantastic and second to none. I think they're literally top 3 in the country right now, if not leading the country. And so to be able to incorporate them in our game day experience and the fantastic leadership of Coach Bullock and really everybody that we work with them, I think just, again, goes back to that concept of the Bobcat family, is we're all working together to create this great experience, not only for our fans, but for our student athletes and everybody involved in game day.
Bethany Cordell joining us here, Jason Walker Show, the Associate Athletic Director of Marketing at Montana State. What was really cool the last couple of weeks, and Coach Choate talked about it too, was the community, buying tickets to donate to those who couldn't go, or gave their tickets to those who, because they couldn't go, so they gave them to families who were able to go. That's cool, and you don't see that everywhere.
No, you really don't. I mean, again, I sound like a broken record, but just the love that our Bobcats have for each other, for the team. I mean, this started with our second round playoff game. Mike Hopes, the owner of the R-Bar, called me and said, hey, I want to help ticket sales, so let me buy 100 tickets and you can figure out who to give them away to. Give them away to people who deserve them. And so we did that, and it took, less than an hour for me to give those away to everybody who deserved them. And then the word kind of started getting out that that's what we were doing, and we had everybody calling. And I think what was really cool was that it turned into this grassroots effort. Again, we did have several of our sponsors step up as businesses and purchase a chunk of tickets, but the majority of the over 800 tickets that were purchased and donated were bought 2, 3, 4 at a time by fans who just wanted to make a little bit of a difference. And I think that just speaks volumes to, like Coach said in his post-game press conference, that the first thing he said before he took any questions was just giving a shout out to the community for making sure everyone who wanted to be at the game was there. And I mean, gosh, just the stories I've heard from people that were able to go to a game, and a lot of them, it was their first game. And what kind of, what an incredible game to be your first one too. So that was cool.
Did they sell out the allotted amount of tickets like within an hour on Sunday or Monday?
Oh, for NDSU?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sure did, less than an hour. I operated the phones, which was a brand new experience for me. We were a little short-staffed this time of year with the holidays, and got to help out with that. But yeah, no, it was absolutely insane. People lined up out the building to get their tickets, and phones just ringing nonstop, and it was pretty cool to see that support.
The final question I got for you is, obviously everybody's excited about football, but you got the women down in Puerto Rico playing basketball. A great season for volleyball, making the Big Sky tournament and almost pulling off an upset. But you've got the men's basketball team playing very well. And when Danny Sprinkle, the Helena High product, his introductory press conference, he said, we've got to get the crowd back to the brick. And along with you, I think he has accomplished a lot of that.
You know what? All of our head coaches, regardless of program, we are so blessed here to work with some incredible coaches that walk the walk when it comes to getting out there and building those relationships with our fans. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. In a town like Bozeman, you know, it's a small enough town that you've got to feel connected to these programs to want to come out and support them. And so, I mean, Danny has hit the ground running with that. You know, our game against, gosh, I'm going to totally blank on who we played, but our last game we played at home was our biggest non-conference crowd since 1996, which is absurd. And that's so much kudos to Coach Sprinkle and getting the guys out in the community. I mean, Coach Sprinkle's visiting Greek houses during the week. He's buying coffee for students on campus. You know, he has yet to say no to an idea that I've had, which makes him a really enjoyable coach to work with. But like I said, I mean, every single one of our coaches are, so I appreciate it.
Well, Bethany, you've done a great job. I look forward to checking in with you more and more as the seasons progress, because it's just the excitement around Montana State athletics right now is I mean, you can feel it everywhere. I guess the word is palpable. But you've done
100%.
Between President Cruzado and Leon Costello and everybody involved, it's top notch. And I know over in the Hill, you know, we don't want to give them too much credit, but they've done a nice job. But you've surpassed what they used to be over there.
Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. And, you know, I will take a win over them any day of the week, but no matter how I get it.
You know what? I love the fact that Moni is back playing in Bobcat Stadium.
Yeah. You know, that was one of those things that I kind of just play and ask for forgiveness later, you know, because that's what the people want. I'm here to give the people what they want.
Well, there you go. I love it. Bethany, are you going to North Dakota?
I sure am.
Well, root the guys on for me, and we appreciate you joining us. And I know you're busy. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much, Jason. Merry Christmas.
That is
Go Cats.
Yeah, there you go. Bethany Cordell joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. A lot of excitement surrounding Montana State athletics. There really is, and it started really 4 years ago when Jeff Choate was hired for football. You got Danny Sprinkle, and Bethany's done a fantastic job. Game day experience for both basketball and football is top notch at Montana State, and it is over the hill too. But it's fun to watch the growth of Montana State, definitely. All right, we're going to take a very quick break. By the way, Bethany joining us, courtesy of Dinner's Done Right. That's what she said is the program today, because it's Wednesday and that's what we do. But Dinner's Done Right, the soup, salad, and nacho bar. And it is Will Rasmussen's texting. And he will join us in a moment. But make sure you stop by Dinner's Done Right. Check out that soup, salad, and nacho bar. The nachos, unbelievable. The soup changes every day, so good. But here's the thing, the salad bar, it is unbelievable, so good, because you have the freshest ingredients. You have you want cottage cheese? Ask for it if it's not in the line. Go down, Dinner's Done Right. Make sure you check out the full menu as well. Get some for dinner too. dinnersdoneright.com, and it's worth it. Dinner's Done Right brings us That's What She Said. Quick break, and when we return, we'll check in with Will Rasmussen, the famed rodeo announcer. He'll join us next here on the Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Everyone knows about Dinner's Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinner's Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinner's Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. All right, well, I tried to play music. It didn't work. But welcome back. Jason Walker Show inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave is presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. And still to come on this day in history, we'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow. But joining us now on the phone is the famed rodeo announcer. Are you home in Shodo?
I want to be in the man cave. That's where I want to be. I want to be
anytime.
in the man cave. I am home in Shodo. Yes, I got home a couple days ago.
Will Rasmussen joining us here.
Oh, good.
How are you, my friend?
I'm great. I'm doing good. Yes.
So
I like it better when the weather's better than it has been, and I like it when it starts to get busy. I like the holiday season, so everything's good.
And of course, you just spent like 20 days in Las Vegas. It feels like probably felt like 4 months, but
I was going to say, yeah. You just have to pace yourself and say no in Las Vegas when you're there for 16 days or whatever. So. No, it's great. Wrangler National Finals was great. Turned out terrific for our friend Ty Erickson.
Yes, it did.
Oh, that was emotional. I don't know. I cried like a baby, and Bridger Chambers getting second, and Haven Medjid having a winning the world, and Chase trying a leg away from winning the world. It was just. How exciting. All the excitement of the NFR, 10 days. It's hard to believe that after 10 days, that much money, and it comes down to a tenth of a second in the tie-down roping and a leg in the team roping, and bad luck for one of Ty Erickson's best friends to have him win the war. It just weird stuff happens, but it always is like that. It's always like that during the NFR, yeah.
Well, I think Haven Medjid won the world title by less than $2,000.
He did, and it came down to Shane Hanchy. If he'd have been 7 flat instead of 7-1, somehow the money would have worked out that he'd have won the world instead of Haven. Isn't that amazing? It just amazes me, but. He won it, and the bright lights didn't get to him, or he didn't crack. That we saw, and what a year he's had. Resistol Rookie of the Year, won the college championship, wins a world title. He'll be coming to the Montana Circuit Finals, and oh my goodness, it's so exciting.
We had him on the Jason Walker Show yesterday, and he was out moving cattle. He gets home and he has to celebrate by going out and working on the ranch. But he said the town's getting ready to throw him a party, and I asked him which is going to be bigger, his party or the bucking horse sale in May, and I think it's going to be pretty close. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I bet it is. Isn't it is good to go back to your roots after Vegas, La La Land, and that, I don't know if you're familiar, but those, they all have sponsors, and the sponsors step up before the NFR, and those poor competitors, they are absolutely run ragged all day long. They seldom get much time to get a chance to catch their breath, put their feet up before the performance, get their head in the game. I mean, they're signing autographs at Cowboy Christmas at the convention center, and Mandalay Bay at that show, and the South Point at that show, and going here for TV appearances. It's just at the end of the 10 days, I can't believe everybody stays healthy during that. It is grueling on those competitors.
Final question about Vegas, but as Will Rasmussen joins us here, the PRCA rodeo announcer, we mentioned Havid, we mentioned Ty, we mentioned Chase, but Clay Tryon was there in the running for a while. You had Lisa Lockhart leading the average and leading the world until she knocked the barrel down with a new horse, and then brings back out Louis for a couple of runs. You also had a couple of imports to Montana in Caleb Bennett and Richmond Champion finishing in the top 7. But there's a lot of Montana connections again, and it's so nice to see.
Oh, gosh. Chase Bennett is a good addition to the Chase, that's his brother, Caleb, is a great addition to the Montana lineup. And Richie Champion He and Caleb Bennett are best friends and traveling partners. That's why he moved over to the Bitterroot Valley. Richie, I call him Richie. He married. That's what he went by before he got famous. He married a Canadian figure skater last Memorial Day weekend,
Really?
and she was on the Canadian Olympic team. Yeah, that's how they ended up in Montana. But they're great additions. Lisa Lockhart will be a Montana forever from Circle,
Yep.
and I just want her to win the world so badly someday. Hopefully, it'll happen. But you just and Clay, obviously he knows what it takes to win a world title. It just didn't work out this year. So and Chase Brooks.
Oh yeah,
he won a round, and the Saddle Bronc rider for Pier Lodge, that little guy. Boy, he's making his mark. He can really ride, and he won a $75,000 or whatever. So I think we have a lot to be proud of.
And do we get to claim now, because Jess Lockwood got married to her, do we get to claim Haley Kinsel as our own now? I know they live in Texas, but
no, they're living up here at the ranch. That's funny you should mention that, because I was talking to Jeff Lockwood's cousin who lives here in Shoto the other day, and she was claiming Jess and Haley because they're up here now. And my question was why? Well, they have, they bought part of a ranch, and I wouldn't be up here in this winter. My goodness. So anyway, what a year they've had, huh? Jess wins the PBR world title, and Haley wins the second consecutive world title in the WPRA. So there's a lot to cheer about, isn't it?
Will Rasmussen, the PRCA announcer, joining us in the top 5 for announcer of the year yet again. Congratulations on that, my friend.
Isn't that something? Boy, I'm lucky. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that is such a great night, that PRCA Awards banquet. It's like the Academy Awards. I mean, it's a big showroom, tablecloths and a beautiful meal and 5 big screens and a stage and lights and music and TV cameras, and the who's who of rodeo is there, and it's just a great night. And my folks made it down, and I was thankful for that. 3 out of my 4 kids were down, and it's a big night. That's when we play the game we play. If you make it to the top 5, that's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, because you're going to win it one of these years. If Wayne Brooks would ever retire, you might have a better chance.
Well, that doggone Tallman won it this year.
Yeah, Tallman too. Good Lord.
I get a chance to go to Billings tomorrow to announce Chase Hawks, and I know you want to talk about that, the Chase Hawks Memorial Roughstock Rodeo. And Bob and I are announcing it together, and I'm looking forward to that. We MC the banquet together, the fundraiser before the event on Saturday night, the banquet. They call it the Cowboy Gathering on Friday, and they raise a pile of money on Friday night, and then that world-class Roughstock Rodeo Saturday night. So Bob and I are side by side all weekend long. And what I thought was really cool is it's the 25th Chase Hawks Rodeo, and I've announced it every year, and Flint was there the first year and friends with the Hawks family. Anyway, the PBR gave him permission to work at that event this year, so he'll be the entertainment for the 25th Chase Hawks.
You two have worked together a lot, and Flint's going to join us on Friday. But what was the very first rodeo you two worked together?
I don't know. Let me think. Maybe Superior, Montana. Maybe.
It wasn't.
Maybe Superior, Montana. Go ahead.
No,
I don't know.
You didn't make one up in the backyard or at the ranch there in Shoto and do one yourselves?
I don't think so. I don't know. That sounds good though, doesn't it?
Right? I like that. Let's go with that. Will Rasmussen joining us. Let me ask you this. So the Chase Hawks, you mentioned the 25th. It is a great rodeo, and for a very good cause. And for those that don't know, explain who Chase Hawks was.
Chase Hawks was a 6-year-old little boy riding his bike down a road in Billings or the Billings area and was struck by a car on Labor Day weekend in the early to mid 90s. What year would that? Maybe 94. I don't know if that adds up. But anyway, so they came together to form this foundation, the Chase Hawks Memorial Foundation, to raise money for medically needy kids in Montana, Wyoming, in the surrounding area. They have a board of directors. They have people that look over grant-type applications that are applying for help money-wise, and they've done some great things for young kids, and there's some terrific stories, but that's what happened. And Flint was actually with his older brother, Justin, who was a bullfighter, the day that Justin got the call. They were in White Sulphur Springs or something like that. That's right. It was in 93 or 94, I'm pretty sure. But it's been carried on, and they don't only have, this isn't the only fundraiser they have. They have trap shoots and golf tournaments and things like that to keep it alive. But there's some very influential, great people on that Chase Hawks board, and it's become successful. And the rodeo itself, and it looks like the weather's going to be good. The metro will be full. They set up buck and shoots on each end of the metro, so they buck 10 on one end, then go down to the other and buck 10 more. It's pretty cool, and they get a lot of big names. Some of the Wrights will be there, some Canadian champions. It's a pretty star-studded lineup, and then they get Sankey stock and Brookman stock and Powder River stock and the Birch family as well. So everybody comes straight from Vegas to Billings, and we have a big time.
And then you guys go home for the holidays and get about a week off. So
maybe. I don't think it's a week. I got to go do a big Chase Hawks type event again in Gillette, Wyoming. They call it the New Year's Eve Bucking Ball, and they have, and it's just like it's Chase Hawks all over again. It's a lot of money, or more money even there in Gillette, that the Birch family ramrods, and then they have that Chancey Williams in concert afterwards, and that's New Year's, the 30th and 31st. So, yeah, then we're off and running to the circuit finals, and then Rapid City and Tucson, and so it'll be great. It's a great winter.
It definitely is, and you get to hang out down south, which is always a good thing.
Well,
a little bit.
February, 15 days in Tucson in February, or 15 days in Montana.
I take one day in Tucson in February. Well, we appreciate it. I'm going to get you back before the circuit finals. I want to talk about the Montana circuit finals in January.
Call anytime.
Merry Christmas, my friend, and have fun in Billings this weekend. Say hi to
Merry
family.
Christmas to you, too. Thanks for being so kind. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Will Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show, and Chase Hawks coming up in Billings this week. Get down there to the Metro on Saturday if you can. All right, let's get to this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right. We'll get to the walk-off in a sec. We'll get to on this day in history. 1961, Wilt Chamberlain of the Philadelphia Warriors scored 78 points. Happy birthday, Ty Cobb was born on this date in 1886. Don Beebe was born on this date in 1964. He played for Buffalo, but at first in college at Chadron State, he played against Carroll College in 1988. The Saints won that game 50-29. Bobby Jones passed away on this date, the American golfer, on this date in 1971. The walk-off is presented by Cafe Zydeco, and a lot of great things. What we missed, Capital beat Helena High in Crosstown Wrestling last night. Cafe Zydeco bringing you the walk-off each and every day. Make sure you check out Cafe Zydeco, 625 Euclid, for all the best Cajun flavor in the state of Montana, and really this side of New Orleans. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow. Kurt Sinnis will join us. We'll also check in with Brody Grebe You're listening to The Jason Walker Show. Make sure you download it on treasurestateradio.com. You can watch Facebook Live anytime as well at facebook.com/The Jason Walker Show. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you at 4. Thanks for watching Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, coming to you from the Major Mortgage Man Cave.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.